Are you scared to adjust your tension because it's a mechanical machine and it's not automatic? Well, today I'm going to make you not so scared to play with these dials. Ooh, I know that definitely is a cringe for a lot of you. We're going to show you how to not be afraid of these dials, the upper and the lower tension. We're going to make your stitches look like your friend's stitches, those perfect individual humps. So let's get started. Hey guys, it's David from Gigi's Fabric Shop, home to Janome Junkies and Juki Junkies. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about tension. After this video, I'm pretty confident that you're going to be very confident on adjusting your tension. So make sure you watch all the way through the video because there's so much different information that you kind of have to gather all of it together to understand how to do your tension properly. So let's get started. So the first step to learning about your mechanical tension is getting the proper materials. So I always like to use a solid fabric that contrasts with your thread really well. I also like to establish a baseline of how thick of the material I want to use. So today we're going to just do 4 layers of cotton material. You can do this at home with less material or more material, it doesn't matter. We're going to use this red fabric here, and we're going to use a Glide 40 weight polyester light gray. This is a great thread. It's made here in the USA. It's practically lint-free, and it's very, very nice to use on your machine because it glides right through and just allows you to have really good tension really easy. We're just going to go ahead and make sure our machine is threaded properly. Now that is extremely important because if your machine's not threaded properly, you're immediately going to void all of this instruction because your machine's not threaded properly, so you're not going to have similar results. So make sure that you have watched our threading video on this machine so you know that you wound your bobbin nice and it's nice and tight. You know your machine's threaded properly, you're going around all of the tension disc properly, you're seated into the tension disc. If you're struggling with your tension on your projects, the first thing I always check is my threading. If your threading is not in those tension discs, if it's not through the thread guides the right way, then you're definitely not going to have good results. And also, one of the biggest things is making sure your bobbin is wound nice and tight. So as you can see here, this bobbin is nice and tight, it's not squishy, and it's nice and even. That is another very important step to having good quality tension. So now that I've gone over my machine, I understand that my machine's threaded properly, I've inspected that it's through every single tension disc properly. I'm going to go ahead and insert my bobbin, because I've already checked that, and we're going to go ahead and put that in the bobbin case. The thread should always fall down on the right side. Go into that groove and go right there. Now, what I like to do for setting my bobbin case tension is I like to set it where it's tight enough where if I pick up on it, it'll go up, and if I jiggle like that, it'll drop. And sometimes I'll go just a little bit tighter so that way I can pick up and I kind of have to slam it like that for it to drop. It just really depends on the thread you're using, so it might be a little different depending on what thread. But somewhere in that area is usually a good starting point. So now I'm going to go ahead and just snip my thread so it's a 2 to 3 inch tail. When I insert this bobbin case into the hook, I like to hold the whole bobbin case like this. I don't like to use the door. I want to hear an audible click. So I'm going to hear that audible click. Boom. I've got my machine threaded. I've got a 90-14 needle because I'm using, just a normal home sewing machine thread, nothing too heavy. I've got my 4 layers of fabric, and I'm going to go ahead and put my stitch plate back on. And I'm going to sew my first strip. So this is just going to be my sample here to see where I'm at with my tension. My upper tension I'm not playing with quite yet, although it should be somewhere around 2 to 3. Okay. So right there you can see the stitch quality already looks really good. And if you didn't already know this, perfect stitches should be individual little humps. There should be a gap in between the stitches. You shouldn't see any thread in between it. And on the back, the same thing should happen. So as you can see here, we have perfect tension, right? The back and the front looks absolutely stunning, and there is nothing we can do to fix this. So now I'm going to kind of mess with it and show you how to make these adjustments if it didn't come out perfect on your first sew out. So let's just go ahead and change our upper tension. Now you don't have to do this if it looks perfect. Just watch the rest of this video and understand how we make these adjustments. So if it doesn't look good on a certain project, you know what to do. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to loosen this thread, loosen this main tension. I'm loosening it all the way to like 0. And watch what happens. My top will look good and I'll be sewing along and it actually looks perfect, right? But when I flip it over to the bottom, you're going to see that my stitches are not perfect. Number one, it's not individual humps and it's very loose. You can see how loose it is. I can pull on it and just pull it all out. So loosening your upper tension will make your bottom stitches loop or look like a straight line. So if you're ever sewing along and it looks beautiful on the top and you flip it over and the bottom looks horrible, you know that your main upper tension is having an issue. There's a couple different ways to troubleshoot this to make sure that it's not the tension dial. The first thing I would do is I would just lift up my foot and pull the thread. Put my foot down and pull the thread. If it doesn't get any harder, then your upper tension is either not threaded properly or it's too loose. So then what I'll do is I'll tighten up this dial and I'll pull my thread and now I can feel some tension. I can see my needle moving and when I'm pulling this thread, it's nice and tight. When I lift up the foot, it's easy. So when you lift up your foot, your tension disc on your upper tension will separate. So what I like to do is I like to lift it up, feel no tension, put it down, feel that tension. That's how I know this is working properly. If I increase this tension to 2 or 3 and I put my foot down and it still feels the same as when my foot's up, my upper tension spring might be old and I might need to replace it, or there might be an issue with this whole assembly and you might have to bring it in to a mechanic to have them take a look at it. On mine, it's working properly, so I'm going to go ahead and just increase it. And now when I go to sew out, it should look good again. So I'll just go ahead and sew out, cut. So now the top looks good just like it did already, and the bottom looks good. So now you know if your bottom looks bad, you need to play with your upper tension. If there's looping and you have it at 2 or 3 and you do the tension test with the foot down and the foot up and your tension dial is working, you just need to increase your tension. Go to the next number up. Keep going until you get that bottom to start looking good. Now, if your top is looking bad, you know that your bobbin case tension is bad. Your bottom tension controls the top stitch, so you should inspect your bobbin case tension. So let me just give you an example of what bad bobbin case tension will look like. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen this. And the adjustment on the bobbin case is going to be this upper flathead screw. The one that's recessed and kind of flat, not the one that's sticking up on the bottom. So I loosen this quite a bit. Now you can see when I pull up, it stays in my hand. That's too loose. I'm going to put that in the machine, and I'm going to show you what it's going to look like here. I'm just going to sew without a stitch plate or a stitch plate cover over there. So you can see how it looks like a straight line. See how that's like a straight line there? It doesn't look good. This is good stitches, this is bad stitches. So when it looks like that, then you're going to just go ahead and increase your bobbin case tension until that fixes itself. So increasing it is righty-tighty, decreasing it is lefty-loosey. Typically, small quarter turns is all you need to do. And then you can just do the test. It's fixed, good to go. Put it in, close it all up, and let's try it out again. All right, so now when I sew, the top looks good. Here's the bottom stitch, or this stitch here. Top looks good, and the bottom looks good. So that's how simple it is to adjust those two tensions. Now I want to touch on if you're sewing and you've adjusted your top, you've increased it, and you're still not getting good stitches on the bottom, and you've increased this so much, well, you might have to go back to your bobbin case and just loosen it a little bit, because sometimes you have to meet them in the middle. If you have this thing tightened, the bobbin case tension tightened all the way down, it's super tight, you did the drop test and it's not dropping at all, it's going to look good up top, but your bottom's not going to be able to look all that good until you increase it really, really, really high. So the goal is to kind of get them to meet in the middle without going super high up in your tension dial. So that's why I always like to establish a baseline with my bobbin case tension first, making sure I do that drop test, and then I'll go to my upper and just sew and then see where I'm at, and then make adjustments on your upper tension, and then you're usually good. However, sometimes your tension springs could be a little bit older, it could be an older machine, and you might have to kind of go back to the bobbin case, loosen it a little bit, and then your upper tension will be strong enough to satisfy your stitches and make them look good. One other thing I wanted to mention is if you're adjusting your upper tension and you're already at like the number 6 or the 7 or the 8 and you're still having looping on the bottom and you've done the tension test where I showed you how you lift up the foot, pull it, it's nice and easy, you put it down and you're at 6 and 7 and you're pulling it and the needle's not even moving because your tension is still not that tight, then this is going to be a step that I'll show you, but I'm just letting you know, don't do this if you're not confident, or bring it into a service tech to have them do this. You're going to loosen this all the way to the left like this. This is going to come off. This little plastic piece will come off, and this little metal piece will come off here too. And this is your upper tension spring. Now this upper tension spring could be compressed to the point where it's no longer giving you good tension. So you might have to just pull on it and stretch it out a little bit so that way it revives the spring and allows it to have more tension. So I wouldn't recommend doing this unless for some reason you're at 6, 7, or 8 and you're still not having enough tension on the top. Then we know that your upper tension spring is probably just old and it needs to be stretched out. All you got to do is just kind of just pull on it, stretch on a little bit, and then put it back in. It's not very common. You should only have to do that if you're still having looping on the bottom and you have increased your upper tension to 6, 7, and 8. So now that I've showed you that, putting it back together, just in case you had to do this, put the spring in, make sure the spring can only really go in one way, like that. Make sure this little ribbed part is facing towards you. And then this piece here is ribbed as well. That's how you get those audible clicks when you turn. There's little cutouts on the back of this. You're just gonna put them in here so it should hold in place there. And then you just screw it back on. It's not that hard to do, but like I said, I don't recommend doing it because I know a lot of people will try this and they can't figure out how to put it back together. So bring it to a certified technician if you are not confident in doing that. And then obviously your tension spring should be much tighter now, so when you rotate it, you should achieve the tension that you need at a lesser number versus going all the way back. Like I said, not very common, but just figured I'd let you guys know of that because it's a little tip and trick that helps a lot of people with older machines. Maybe you've had your tension dial sitting at like 6 or 7 for a long time and that spring is now compressed down and it's not working like it should. So just like that, we are now much more confident on adjusting our upper and our lower tension on these machines to achieve that perfect stitch. A couple quick tips. Remember, your upper tension dial is going to control the bottom of your stitches on the bottom of your fabric. The bobbin case is going to control that upper stitch on the top of your fabric. So always refer back to this video if you have any questions. Comment down below if you have questions that I maybe didn't answer in this video. I'll be happy to help you guys out. Don't forget, if you're interested in a Janome sewing machine or a Juki sewing machine, give us a call. We'll throw up all of our contact information on the screen. We're located in Brandon, Florida, just outside of Tampa, Florida. We have all these machines on the floor so you can try them out. You can call us and we can match make you if you live far away. We'll fit you in the right machine. We'll test the machine before we ship it out if you want us to test it and set the tension for you so you have a good, perfect baseline of perfect stitches with whatever thread and whatever thickness of materials you're going to be sewing. We take a lot of pride in our customer support and service, so if you're interested in any sewing machine, Juki or Janome, we'll be happy to help you out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Give us a like, comment down below, and hit that subscribe button because we'll be posting every week that we can. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.